Every time I go on Twitter, I keep saying the hashtag Ole out, Ole out, Ole out, Ole out. It makes me wonder if that is the right call at the moment for Manchester United. Should Ole be sacked? Personally, the answer for me is no. Ole should not be sacked for 4 reasons. 1. The board has not fully backed him. 2. He is not to blame for some of the performance of the players. 3. We sack Ole now and we start another rebuild from the scratch. And 4. It is too early in the season to sack him. But before I dig deep into these factors and points I just stated out, welcome to Alex Football. Alex Football is a YouTube channel that posts Manchester United related content. We post tactics, player review, and transfer news. If you're a Manchester United fan, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share to your friends, and turn on the bell notification icon to get notified whenever I release a new video. Now let's begin. Number 1. The board has not backed him. Before we can even think of trending Ole out, or even having all hands on deck saying that we want to sack Ole, the big question we should ask ourselves is this: has the board fully backed Ole? Have they given him the player that he wants? Have they given him the transfer funds to sign the player that he wants? And given our performance in the transfer window that just closed, the answer is a big fat no. Ole has not been backed by the board. He wanted Jadon Sancho, they gave him Edison Cavani. He wanted a centre back, no centre back was given. He wanted Erling Haaland a couple of months ago. He did not get Erling Haaland. Who else did he want? He wanted so many other players. What he got were alternative. A loan move was made for Ousmane Dembele. It broke down. So, technically, he has not been given the players that he wants. So saying that Ole should be sacked makes no sense. Why would you sack somebody you've not backed? You gave someone a job to do. The person is not doing the job the way he's supposed to do it, because you've not provided him the tools for him to do the job the way you want him to do it. So you can't sack him. If you sack him now, it's on you, not the person you gave the job to do. The same scenario is happening with Ole now. The board has not backed him. He asked for this, he has not been given. And it's unfortunate because given the size and a club like Manchester United, it is as if the board does not care about the fans and what happens in the footballing aspect of the club. Manchester United is a commercial club. The commercial arm brings in a whole lot of money. But what the board forgot was that it was a footballing aspect of the club that begets the commercial aspect that is booming now. If the footballing aspect was never successful, the commercial aspect would not be booming. Nobody would be willing to invest in Manchester United. No brand will be willing to partner with them. No brand will be willing to invest with them. Now, given the actions of the board and the Glazers family at the moment, they have shown that they don't care about the footballing aspect of the club. And sooner or later, it will come back to bite them because the club will lack the pulling power to attract some of the best players in the world. If I'm Jadon Sancho right now, the question I'll be asking myself is this: why would I want to come to a club like this? A club that seems to not care about football, to not care about its fans. We had to leave it late in a transfer window to even get Alex Telles haggling over 18 million euros with FC Porto. Look at that, and look at that scenario. Does that sound like the board that has backed his manager in a transfer window? Look at the transfer saga of Jadon Sancho, for example. This transfer saga has been dragging since early this year, since March or February this year, and this is October now. The transfer window opened and slammed shut. We could not get him, probably because there was not enough fund. Nobody really knows why we could not get Jadon Sancho this transfer window. Probably there was not enough money. Nobody really knows, really. All we know was that Man United wanted to pay in installments and in add-on, and Borussia Dortmund stood their ground and said 120 million euros, I think, or nothing. And this is a player that we need. This is a player that the coach has said that he needs. And what did we get him? We got him Cavani, we got him Amad Traore, an 18-year-old that personally I've never heard of before until the transfer window deadline day. So sacking Ole now makes no sense because the board has not backed him fully. And Ole is not Jose Mourinho that is willing to have a public fallout with the board, with the Glazer family, with Ed Woodward. He is not that type of manager, he's not that type of person. He loves the club so much that he does not want to wash the dirty lines of the club in public, which Jose Mourinho did. We all know the end of that. He's not willing to do that. He's not that kind of person. Maybe if he's that kind of person, maybe the board will be taking him seriously. Maybe the Glazer family will be taking him seriously. But he is not that kind of person. So until the board backs Ole fully, nobody should trend the hashtag Ole out because they have no reason to sack him. He is doing his best with the tools and with the players available. Number 2, he is not to blame for the performances of some of the players. Now, this is a huge reference to the game against Tottenham Hotspur. The game against Tottenham was heartbreaking. It was disappointing. It was below standard, the performance. Think of every negative word out there sums up the game against Tottenham Hotspur. It sums up the performance of our players and everything about our players. The performance of Harry Maguire, for example, you can't blame that on Ole. Blaming that on Ole means you don't even understand football at all. I don't think Ole would send out Harry Maguire to mark Luke Shaw. We could see in the replays, in the images, that Harry Maguire actually pulled down Luke Shaw. He was marking his own teammates. How do you pin that on Ole? You can't pin that on Ole. You pin that on Harry Maguire. The performance of Harry Maguire let him down as a captain of the club, as a man in command of that defense, let down the manager, let down the fans. So blaming that on Ole is just out of it. Now, do you explain the performance of Antonio Martial? Yes, Eric Lamela blew up the situation, but you know the first rule of football: do not react, because the referee would not see the reaction of the first scenario. It is your reaction that the referee would see. Martial deserved the red card, but Lamela too also deserved the red card. But in the end, the reaction of Martial was what the referee saw, and he got the red card. How do you blame the performance of Luke Shaw in that game? Luke Shaw was awful in that game also. I don't think Ole would send them out to go and be awful, for Christ's sake. So the performance of some of the players has not done the image of Ole any good at all. It has even made things worse for Ole, and you can't blame that on Ole. Maybe they were having a bad day at the office. I wouldn't even say that, because they have been having a bad day at the office since the beginning of this season, and Luke Shaw has not been the best so far since the beginning of this season. The Luke Shaw post lockdown was decent, it was okay, then he got injured again, then we had him at the beginning of the season and he has been awful completely. So I don't know what is wrong with that defense. The performance of some of the players, even Pogba too, cannot be exempted. He loses the ball, he doesn't track back to recover it. He has not lived up to the billing. He has always been inconsistent. Today he scores a worldie, a spectacular goal. In the next game, he can't even hold up the ball in the midfield. He's losing the ball in dangerous areas in the midfield. It's just here and there. It's just up and down, the performances of this player, and you cannot blame that on Ole. So no trending of Ole out. Let Ole out be for now. Let's look for players that can deliver consistent top-level performance. Ole out should not be trending at the moment. No Ole out. Ole in is what should be trending. Number 3. Sack Ole will start another rebuild from the scratch. If the board should sack Ole now, they will have to start a rebuild from the scratch. Let's say they bring in Mauricio Pochettino or Maximiliano Allegri. These are two managers with style of play different from that of Ole. These are managers that would like to bring in players that buys into their own footballing philosophy, players they believe can play their own footballing philosophy to the fullest, can bring out the beauty of their footballing philosophy, they would also like to take out players in this current squad that do not buy into their philosophy, that will undermine their footballing philosophy. In other words, they would also be spending a lot of money, either we bring in Mauricio Pochettino or Maximiliano Allegri. So we are back to the same square one. The money the board is refusing to give Ole to spend now, they will give it to another manager to spend. And that is starting from the beginning, weeding out some players, bringing in new players, and the cycle continues, the cycle of wasting money, of buying players that do not fit into the squad or the Manchester United philosophy continues. This is one of the main reasons why this squad is so unbalanced. The main reason why we have so many centre backs that are utterly useless that Ole cannot make use of. Because it is unfortunate that we have more than 6 centre backs currently in that squad. We have Harry Maguire, we have Phil Jones, we have Victor Lindelof, we have Marcos Rojo is still there. Eric Bailly, these are central defenders brought in by different managers. Nobody is interested in signing Marcos Rojo. We are just paying him money to be our player. Phil Jones is a constant bench warmer. This is a result of, these are signings of different managers due to our inconsistency in the transfer window and refusal to back our managers. So sacking Ole now makes no sense because the board will have to start, Ed Woodward will have to start looking for a new manager, and that will cost more money and so on. The money they are supposed to give Ole now to fulfill his rebuilding, to complete his rebuilding, they will have to give it to a new manager. So it makes no sense to sack Ole now. Rather than sack Ole, give him money to buy the player that he wants and let's see how it goes from there. If he fails to deliver the expected result after backing him fully in the transfer window, then Ed Woodward has every reason to pull the trigger. The Glazer family have every reason to sack him. If the owner of Chelsea now, Roman Abramovich, sacks Frank Lampard, he has every reason to sign Frank Lampard at the moment because he has backed him fully in the transfer market. Every hole that needs to be plugged in that Chelsea squad has been plugged. From goalkeeper to left back to winger to centre forward to central midfield, he has done everything for Frank Lampard in the transfer market this season. So he has every reason to sack Frank Lampard if he does not deliver. But in the case of Ole, the board does not have any reason to sack him because they have not backed him. Sacking him now will only cost the board more money and take our rebuilding process back to square one. Number 4. Too early in the season to sack Ole. There is this scene in the movie Troy when the Trojans first invaded Troy. The right-hand man of Hercules asked him why he let go of Prince Hector. He said, "It is too early in the war for kings and queens to die." The same thing applies, or we can use in the context of Ole now. It is too early in the season to be sacking a coach. We are 3 games into the Premier League. I think we have an outstanding so far. I know we've not had the best start to the Premier League at the moment, probably due to fitness issue. Some of our players got coronavirus. There was a lack of preseason. There are so many reasons why things have gone south for us at the beginning of this season. Let's not forget that we had the 3rd best defense last season in the Premier League. So it is too early in the season to sack Ole at the moment. We cannot judge based on the performances of the player at the beginning of this season that it will continue like this. We've made some decent signings so far. Alex Telles is in, Edison Cavani and Van der Beek. Amad Traore will come in January. So there is hope. There is still a glimmer of light that these performances for them will improve as the season continues. So calling for Ole out now, such at this early stage of the season, is simply out of it for me. I don't see Ed Woodward doing it. I don't see Marty Joy. I don't see the Glazers family thinking of that at the moment. What we should be thinking about is how well these players will integrate into the squad. What performance level can we expect for them? How well will they deliver? How we can support and back them. Not trending Ole out every minute we have a bad game. It doesn't work like that. So sacking Ole at the beginning of this season is at this early stage of the season is simply a no-no for me. I believe the Manchester United board and director Ed Woodward sees it the same way. So Ole out is a no-no at the moment. It is more of seeing how the season progresses. Hopefully, the loss against Tottenham, that disaster against Tottenham, will be a springboard for a rethink in the mind of the players to find their feet again. They find that optimal level of performance again to deliver and come good in the next game when the Premier League resumes after the international break. That will be a turning point for them. And I'll see how Ole can motivate them to use that as a springboard to turn things around. But at the moment, sack Ole, it's a no-no for me. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.